Hi, you'll have seen information over the past couple of days from the principals, but I have to make a confession that I posted a video on Friday evening, but only just realized that it would only be subscribers to our YouTube channel that would have been notified that it was updated, so my apologies. If you've already watched that video, this is actually virtually the same. But if you've not seen it, this video aims to give an overview of the COVID situation as of today, 13th of December 2021, and the potential implications for our new semester start in January. The short version is that many schools in the region were told last Thursday that they need to operate at yellow status from today. Last week, the Prime Minister announced new updates about the country's response to the rising COVID cases and the potential impact of the new Omicron variant. And in this announcement, schools were being put back onto the traffic light system, and it would be up to each communer to determine the measures required. Barneskoler and ungdomsskoler would need to operate at yellow status, but they also said that barnehage and videregående could still operate on green status. As a result of these new restrictions that have been announced, these last 3 days of this semester, up to the Christmas break, will have certain new routines and the strengthening of many systems that frankly have been in place all along. As you probably know, there was an announcement a couple of weeks ago that mandated face masks on public transport and shops where distance could not be kept. For ISS, all students 12 and over will need to wear face masks on the school buses, and siblings, that's brothers and sisters, should sit together. In ECPS, they'll be using additional space in classrooms wherever that's possible, obviously regular cleaning of desks and chairs, and encouraging children to use anti-bac and regular hand washing. In the middle school, these basic strategies will also be used. However, since the middle school students need to move between classes, and this can cause congestion in the corridors and stairs, students will need to wear face masks while in the corridors, changing between classrooms. They may also need to wear a face mask during any activity where closer contact may be necessary, such as if they're working in pairs during a science experiment. So please make sure that your child has a face mask with them. Our high school falls under different regulations, and so technically it's at green status. However, since we are a combined school, we will encourage available space to be used in classrooms and to wear face masks during transition times. Perhaps for our non-Norwegian families, it may be helpful to know that the public schools in Norway are organised in different groupings. So that's barnehage for the under 6-year-olds, barneskole for 6 to 13-year-olds, ungdomsskole for 13 to 16-year-olds, and videregående for 16 to 19s. Obviously, ISS is somewhat unique in that we are one school and it crosses each of these Norwegian divisions. Guidelines about the traffic light regulations for schools issued by the commune are typically aimed at those school categories in Norway, and since ISS has all of these age ranges present, it can be a bit tricky to adapt, since the Norwegian sections don't actually align fully with our ECPS middle and high school. I can appreciate that at times our messaging might have appeared to change slightly over the past few months, and I think it's important to reiterate that we're all having to adapt to emerging information that's released by the commune. I certainly don't pretend to be an epidemiologist, and we have no data of hospitalization rates or the density of vaccinated people, and this is where we've relied on Smittevernet to provide guidance and instruction whenever there's been a COVID case within the school. Their advice may have changed depending on the specific cases or the age of children involved, or as they discover patterns or gain medical insight. I think it's worth perhaps recapping our COVID experience this year. We started the year in August, very upbeat that we could operate the school as normal, and certainly we saw initial restrictions being relaxed during those first few weeks and months. Several families used the opportunity to travel during the October break to visit family and friends after such a long period of travel restrictions. Perhaps not unsurprisingly, we saw our first COVID cases shortly after that in October, notably as a result of our proactive testing in preparation for a grade 6 trip that had been planned. Interestingly, the majority of the initial positive cases were asymptomatic, meaning that they were not showing visible signs of being sick. As you will have seen from the daily updates, we had cases cross over grade levels, which is not surprising given that we mix as a school and we have families with children of different ages. We've had a total of 46 positive cases over the last few months, 43 students and 3 staff. And while some children did have symptoms, fortunately, most of those reported to us were said to be mild. Thank you for your support. It's been essential that when we have been advised to test a class or a grade level, we know that your help has ensured that we're doing what we can to help the whole community. For the past 3 weeks, we've been really happy that there haven't been any new COVID cases reported in the school. Although on Friday we were informed of a new positive case in 3B and the relevant parents were contacted about testing on Friday. You may be wondering about the implications for January. We're lucky that these new restrictions only really impact us for another couple of days. We've been really fortunate that most of our big events, such as the amazing high school production of Radio Caroline and the fantastic grade 4-5 the last night, and of course the winter concert. Sadly, the ECPS concerts had to be streamed virtually, and parents missed out on the wonderful Santa Lucia parade this morning. We have to prepare, though, for the reality that these restrictions will still be in place when we start the new semester on Wednesday, 5th of January. We can expect updates from the Communa over the coming weeks in preparation for when schools start in January. And obviously, we'll need to adapt to any new regulations as and when we're told. Grade 12 have their mock exams starting on Monday the 10th of January, and usually they would spend the first couple of days back in school for their preparation and revision. Our concern is that if there's a positive case in the grade 12 or potentially anywhere in the high school, depending on the regulations at the time, this could well disrupt these important examinations. And so we've taken the decision already that grade 12 will use from Wednesday 5th to Friday 7th of January with online sessions for their revision and exam preparation to ensure that the actual exams can go ahead without disruption. Now, while we may sing about wanting a white Christmas, we're actually hoping for a green January. However, to be honest, that looks unlikely. And we're preparing for the potential of having to start maybe the whole school on yellow. But we don't know this yet. And any decisions over the coming weeks will have to be based on the Communa's announcements. It's difficult to anticipate the situation in January and how COVID restrictions or travel disruptions, how they may impact us. We may need to start the year virtually for middle school and high school students, but it's most likely that ECPS will be physically in school, as there have been several announcements and press articles about the intention to keep the younger children in school wherever possible. It's most likely that we'll need to ask parents to test their children before returning in January. I would urge any family travelling over the break to allow time on your return to test, to wait a couple of days, and then retest again before coming back to school. And if you've made it through the video this far, thank you. Thank you for your continued support and understanding. Thank you to our amazing and active parent association who've welcomed new families and organised fun events. And thank you to our amazing ISS staff who, over these past months, have worked hard and tirelessly to make memorable learning experiences and meaningful connections for the children, despite all of the challenges that affect us locally and around the world. And so wherever you may be spending this vacation, for those of you celebrating Christmas, good Yule, I wish you a happy and hopefully less stressful 2022. Thank you.